So, the awesome ladies and gentlemen over at Fantech sent over a new gamepad for me to test out. They didn't need to, as I'm still very much happy with my current daily driver wireless gamepad, the Fantech WGP15 EOS Pro, but still, some of you might want the features of this new one. This is the Fantech WGP14v2 NOVA Pro. Let's get it unboxed and tested. But before we continue with the video, let's keep the lights on here in the studio. This video is brought to you by Sneak Attack Design Lab. They're a clothing company that specializes in technical fashion, more commonly known as techwear, and you can see me in their clothes in most of my videos. I've been supporting their brand ever since I met them back in 2019, and now they're returning the favor. Head on over to this link, you can find it in the description as well, to get 10% off your order from their site. Check their clothes out, you're bound to see something badass over there that'll look great on you. Thank you very much to Sneak Attack for this exclusive promo for my viewers. Now, back to the video. So the Fantech WGP14v2 NOVA Pro, as the name implies, is the second version or revision of their WGP14 gamepad. As we can see here on the box, it is styled very closely to the WGP15 we've previously taken a look at here on the channel. Here at the front, we can see that it's got some wild cyberpunk print and styling, and it's already advertising its JH16 Hall Effect joysticks, its interchangeable thumbsticks, and its dual mode connectivity. Down here in the lower right of the front, we can see a familiar set of face buttons. Yes, this is a PlayStation-style gamepad, unlike the WGP15, which is an Xbox-style gamepad. Flipping the box over, we can see even more features being advertised. No need to dwell on these now, as we'll be covering all of these throughout this video. Upon opening up the box, we're greeted with the gamepad itself, wrapped in wax paper. It's also inset into a plastic mold to protect it from bumps during shipping. Let's set it aside for now to check the accessories. Included here at the top of the mold are two replacement thumbsticks. They're taller than the default thumbsticks, which is always a good thing for me. Underneath the mold, we can see the paperwork, the manual, warranty card, and a little note from Fandy P of Fantech. Thanks, Fandy. More accessories here too. The USB-A 2.0 to USB-C data and charging cable, which should charge the gamepad up in an hour or so. It's not fast charging, hence the longer charging time. Also, I've been informed by the Fantech representatives that there's a printing error on the box and on the website. It says there that the WGP14v2 has a 600 mAh battery, when in fact it has a 1000 mAh battery. That's pretty great. Longer gaming time. Then we have 3 sets of Pro Aim O-rings. These are foam rings that you can put around the stem of your thumbsticks to help in fine-tuning your control. The dark gray set is soft, the gray set is medium, and the black set is hard, and they offer different resistances to fit your comfort and playstyle. This was also in the WGP15. I've tried them out and they're pretty good. I don't use them personally though. That's all the accessories. Let's get to the gamepad itself. Upon taking out the gamepad from its wax bag, we can see the gamepad has these 2 foam protectors on the sticks, so they won't get bent or damaged during shipping. You can also include this if you're going to put it in a carry case. That's always good to see. Alright, so this is the Fantech WGP14v2 NOVA Pro. Let's tour the product. As we can see, it's a PlayStation-style layout gamepad, with both the sticks at the bottom of the face, flanked by the D-pad and X, circle, square, and triangle buttons. It's got this cyberpunk print all around it, similar to the WGP15. It's also got a slightly more matte texture on the face compared to its bigger brother. It's also of a bigger physical footprint compared to the PlayStation 4 gamepad. It's got almost the same width, but with a slightly thicker body. The handles are also deeper, giving you a much more comfortable grip. For the furnishings, starting at the top, we have the light bar and touchpad that's standard with PlayStation-style controllers. If connected to a PC, this will act as a mouse control or kind of like a laptop touchpad by default. Texture is pretty smooth and it has a soft click to it when pushed down. The touchpad is flanked by the share button on the left and the options button on the right. These act as the select and start buttons if you're much more into the retro naming. On the left side, we can see the cross-style D-pad, which unlike the WGP15, does not feature a replaceable cover. It's fine, PlayStation-style gamepads rarely have that feature. Over on the right side, we have the X, circle, square, triangle face buttons. They're of medium height and they've got a firm, satisfying actuation to them, leagues better in feeling compared to the stock PS4 gamepad. Plus, they're illuminated, as we're going to see later. Moving on down, we have the GH16 Hall Effect joysticks. It's great that they have these as stock, no need to mod in your own Hall Effect joysticks. The stock joystick hats are concave with ribbed sides and a standard 8mm tall. You can swap them out with the tall sticks just by pulling them out and pushing the tall ones in, and they stand at around 1.2mm tall. As usual, we will be swapping both out now because, you know me, I like my sticks tall. Do note that both sticks feature metal tube sleeves. These ensure that you'll always have smooth operation when sliding the sticks alongside the outer rail. Great attention to detail here, Fantech. Right in between the sticks, we have the speaker, home, and turbo buttons from top to bottom. Alright, and at the chin, we have the 3.5mm audio jack. Moving on over to the top of the WGP14v2, we see our first major departure from the PlayStation format. It's got the shoulder and trigger button shape of Xbox-style gamepads, which is very welcome to me. I prefer this longer, more ergonomic shape than the PlayStation size. Good job here, Fantech. The left and right triggers are not only Hall Effect as well, but we've got variable depth too, adjustable through this slider at the back. When pushed in all the way to the middle, the triggers will have maximum depth or throw. When pushed down all the way to the sides, the triggers will have shallow depth. They're pretty useful when you're playing different games. Back on the top, we have the off button and the USB-C data and charging port. Moving on over to the back, we can see the additional MR and ML buttons. These are macro buttons that you can assign macros to when you've got some functions in games that require repetitive sequenced inputs. And that's it for the product tour. Let's get it turned on and let's see the built-in features. Before we start, I'd like to show you this guide on the manual on how to connect to your different devices. Please refer to this when you're about to comment if it's compatible with your system or device. Alright, let's see this light up. Wow, now doesn't that look nice? Bright RGB lighting around the sticks, on the face buttons, and inside the device. Do note that the LED light bar is in blue because I have connected it via Bluetooth to my PC. Also, if you're on PC, you can actually customize the lighting color on it using the DS4 Windows app. I'll have it linked down there in the description. Features time, and while we're on the topic of RGB, let's see the lighting customization options. RGB can be customized by pressing and holding the option button and pressing left or right on the D-pad. It has RGB rainbow mode, RGB scroll, static color, and off. Brightness of the RGB can be adjusted by pressing and holding the option button and pressing up or down on the D-pad. Do note here that the color of the RGB does not change the X, circle, square, and triangle colors. They will all stay in their default color no matter which RGB color is selected. Next up, we have Turbo Mode. Most Pro gamepads offer something like this. It repeats the input of that particular key at different rates. To turn it on for a compatible button, press and hold the Turbo button here and press the button that you want to get pressed repeatedly. To increase the press rate, press and hold the Turbo button and push the right thumbstick up. To decrease the press rate, press and hold the Turbo button and push the right thumbstick down. To clear the turbo effect, press and hold the Turbo button for 5 seconds. There's also a programmable macro function to this gamepad, but unfortunately it does not show up in the manual. So yeah, we might have to wait for an updated manual on the Fantech website just so we know how the macro functionality works. Alright, that's everything with the Fantech WGP14v2 NOVA Pro. Now for my favorite part, testing it and using it to play some games. Let's go. Alright, this is a new addition to my gamepad videos, the hardware and polling rate test. First up is Gamepad Tester, and it recognizes the WGP14v2 as Sony PS4 DualShock. It can detect all the buttons successfully, it can recognize the depth of throw on both shoulder triggers, and the average error reported for both joysticks are at around 0.4%, which is as close to perfect as we can get. Moving on over to Gamepad Latency Analyzer, we can see that in both wired and Bluetooth mode, the WGP14v2 has a reported polling rate of 250Hz. That's not bad. I would have preferred the wired mode to be at least 500Hz, but that would definitely increase the price on this. Alright, let's head on over to some games. As is usual with my Gamepad videos, I will test it out on 3 games: Forza Horizon 5, Spyro Reignited, and Tekken 7. I don't like playing FPS games with a gamepad, sorry about that. Starting out with Spyro Reignited, I can definitely appreciate the great response and tactile feel of the face buttons. It feels much snappier than the stock PS4 gamepad, and it's much more raised, so there's less chance of accidental presses. There's also a softer bottom out and a faster rebound on the face buttons, which adds a lot of confidence in the input. It's a really good experience. Heading on over to Forza Horizon 5, this is where I test out how smooth the sticks are. And what can I say? These are running the same JH15 Hall Effect sticks like on the WGP15, so they're really good and smooth. I've been daily driving that bad boy, so it's a familiar, comfortable experience to me here on the WGP14v2. One thing I have to say though, I really do not prefer to have the sticks together like this. I have huge hands, so there are times when I have to push in on the sticks at the same time and my thumbs hit each other. Of course, that's more a personal preference than anything, but yeah, great sticks on the WGP14v2. Definitely the strongest point in this gamepad. Lastly, we have Tekken 7, where we can test out how solid the D-pad is. And while I personally prefer having a dish-style D-pad over this cross-style, I found it not bad for playing Tekken 7. It was responsive and smooth enough that I was able to input my preferred moves without much difficulty. Sweeping moves were a bit difficult since I've been used to the dish input, but that's more of a personal skill issue than a comment on the quality of the gamepad. I never claimed that I'm good at this game, okay? I just like playing it. So that's the lowdown on the new Fantech WGP14v2 NOVA Pro wireless gamepad. I mean, at 43 USD international and just 1,900 pesos here in the Philippines, it's such a great value gamepad. It looks fantastic, it's got RGB, it's got the right features with its Hall Effect sticks and triggers, and even its stable performance. You can't ask for much more at that price. Links are in the description if you want to get one for yourself. So that's our feature on this Fantech gamepad. If you have any questions about it, leave it down in the comments and I'll try to answer them the best I can. While you're there, give this video a like and subscribe. It helps out a lot. That's it. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.